All right, game 79 and a massive 1-0 overtime win for the Toronto Maple Leafs, defeating the Montreal Canadiens here tonight on a goal from Mitch Marner. And as amazing as that goal was by Mitch Marner, as impressive as it was by Mitch Marner to score that and do it off the rush and take the shot, etc., 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 I don't think we can overshadow how important that save was by Anthony Stolarz to lead up to that. You have a breakaway opportunity, like a three-quarter breakaway opportunity for Nick Suzuki to open the game off on a defenseman that you wouldn't normally expect to have a gaff like that, letting Nick Suzuki in all alone. He gets by Anthony Stolarz, and it basically should have been a goal. And Anthony Stolarz says, Dikembe Mutombo, no, not happening. We're winning this game, and I'm going to be the reason. I faced little action. I haven't been challenged, too much here tonight. But in the few opportunities that I have been challenged, I've showed up, and none bigger than in overtime to open up this game and allow Mitch Marner to be the overtime hero, who might overshadow what you get from Anthony Stolarz tonight when you look back and say, well, he didn't make that many saves. He wasn't faced that much. He didn't get too much of a challenge. But Anthony Stolarz was dialed in the chances he had against him, and Mitch Marner comes up big to win that thing in overtime for the Maple Leafs. Thank you, everyone who bared with me here, waiting for me to start the show here tonight. I appreciate that, as always. Sorry for the late show or the late start to the show here tonight. Had a rare opportunity here tonight to go to the game. I asked for permission. I said, hey, you know what? Can I start the show late? You guys in the chat said, yep. It's all good. We're fine with that. The bosses here at the Leafs Nation, the bosses here at the Nation Network said, yep, you're good. Enjoy it. Showed up here late to the postgame show, but I think it was worth it. The goal in overtime by Mitch Marner gets this team another 2 points, takes a point away from the Montreal Canadiens that they could have had to open up a little bit more of a gap against the Columbus Blue Jackets. So it's an exciting night. It's a happy night. We'll break it all down here on the show tonight. Presented by Bet365. As always, thank you to our friends at Bet365. And I'm opening up the line here to callers tonight. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I got to be in person. I got to kind of experience it myself and see it firsthand. And I'll give all my thoughts on it, on not just the game, because tonight was one of those opportunities that I finally actually got to experience the fan experience in the arena, and maybe some people will have a differing experience. Maybe this was a one-off on what we actually got to see in person here tonight, because I have thoughts, and we'll get into all of those. I do see a caller waiting, and it's a fan favorite. It's one of my favorites, so I'm going to get to that caller. Before I do, I just want to take this moment to remind everybody, the other night on the post-game show, we raised $240 for Sick Kids Charity. And you're asking, how did you do that? Why did you do that? Well, any questions, comments, concerns, anything you guys have about the show, you want to say, about the team, you want to ask me, you want to say to me, you want to tell me I'm an idiot, I don't care. Tell me. But if you do so through the form of Super Chat, well, we have a Super Chat charity partner this season, and that would be Sick Kids Charity. Our Super Chat charity partner this season is Sick Kids. You want to make sure your question or comment gets on the show. Hit us with the Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids Charity, Canada's first children's hospital and a top research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and third in the world. So, tonight on the show, any of your super chats, questions, comments that come throughout the course of the show here tonight, I will answer all of those. I will get to everything you guys have to say, all of your thoughts, comments, concerns. As always, we do that on pretty much every single post-game show here on the Leafs Nation After Dark. We'll break that all down. But as we do so, as we get ready here tonight, I do want to get callers, because I can give you my thoughts, and I have thoughts on tonight's game. I'm going to get into all of those. But this is a fan show. This has always been a fan show, and this will always be a fan show. You know, I'm lucky enough to work with great people here at the Leafs Nation. I get to have Nick Alberga, Carter Hutton, Jay Rosehill, just to name a few on the postgame show, who give their thoughts. But this postgame show was founded on not just me, but the chat and everybody who's got their own thoughts and feelings on it. So we're going to get to our first caller here tonight on the postgame show. Time now for our Ninja Crispy Hotline, presented by the Ninja Crispy 4-in-1 Portable Glass Air Fryer.
Meet the first of its kind. The Ninja Crispy Portable Cooking System. The power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hand. So you can cook big or small batches. Just prep it, crisp it, serve it, and store it all in one.
Well, as we get to our first caller here tonight, it's a good time to remind you guys that the Ninja Crispy is an all-in-one system that includes 4-quart, 6-cup Tupperware glass containers and 2 storage lids. The Ninja Crispy is thermal shock resistant, can go from frozen to crispy in minutes. With the Crispy Power Pod, you get the power of a full-sized air fryer in the palm of your hands. The 4-quart container fits 4 pounds of chicken or veggies. You can cook a personal-sized meal in 7 minutes. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 7 minutes in the 6-cup container. Max crisp, bake, air fry, and re-crisp with the Ninja Crispy.
The first of its kind. The Ninja.
You can prep, cook, and store anything from crispy favorites to one-dish meals. Visit their website in the link in the description and stay tuned for a chance to win a free Ninja Crispy for one of our lucky fans. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, let's get to the Ninja Crispy hotline here tonight. Welcome our first caller to the show, KPG. KPG, how's it going? Can you hear us? Can we hear you? We might have an audio issue here. Of course, that's the way that this goes. Hold on. I don't know if it's me, if it's you. I'm not entirely sure, but we're figuring this thing out here. KPG, if we can get maybe some audio. Hold on. There we go. We got you. KPG?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
We got you.
Oh, yeah, baby. Zack, how was the game tonight?
So this is what I was going to say, and I'm interested here because I'll explain it to you, and while I explain it to you and you and I talk through this, I want to know what people who are watching at home or other people who are in the building tonight or other people who have gone to other games, weren't at this one, think. Leafs Nation was on fire tonight. You know, it wasn't the loudest building in the NHL. We went to Nashville a couple of weeks ago. That place was rocking. I know what the Bell Center can be like. That place is nuts. Philadelphia, they can be crazy atmospheres, but tonight was pretty loud. And, you know, I'm not saying this to brag or flex or anything like that, but I got to be in the lower bowl. It was an opportunity from a work colleague of mine who took me to the game, took me to the lower bowl. It was way rowdier than I expected it to be. You know, there's people chanting that, you know, Juraj Slafkovsky is a bust, that Laine Hutson sucks. Like, it was an electric atmosphere, and it was pretty exciting in there, KPG.
You know what was amazing? This is the classic of the NHL. It's the classic Canadian game. It's the Battle of the 401. It's Montreal versus Toronto, Hockey Night in Canada, Saturday night in Scotiabank Arena. I mean, Let's face it, Scotiabank's kind of lame typically, but there were a lot of red jerseys tonight, but way more blue. And yes, it was rocking. And of course, because it's the classic game and it mattered for both teams. This is the night that Montreal could have clinched, and this is a night that would have put. Which the Leafs were able to do to put more separation between them and Tampa.
Correct. You know,
it wasn't.
Go ahead.
Sorry, it wasn't fake ass. It wasn't fake ass fans like that father and daughter who come in those fake Panthers jerseys or whatever opposing team jerseys. It was real Habs fans, and of course, real Leaf fans like you.
Yeah, it was exciting. I appreciate that, saying real Leafs fan. Thank you. I get the opposite from people now on doing the post game show when I say stuff and they're like, "Oh, you're part of the media." Well, I'm still a huge Leafs fan here. I was pretty fired up to be in that building. Any opportunity that I got to get on my feet, I was up there. It was cool. Like I mean, the lower bowl specifically gets a lot of pushback on. It's quiet, it's corporate, they sit on their hands, they're eating sushi and caviar, they're not engaged in the game. KPG tonight, I'll tell you, maybe it was just my section, but it was rowdy. You know, it was right from the anthem. Like, the anthem was starting, and we were having loud "Go Leafs Go" screams and cheers and chants, and opportunities would come for either team, and you could feel the intensity in the building. It was an electric atmosphere tonight. Diz K there in the chat saying crowd sounded electric on the broadcast. I'm glad that's the case, because it was fun in there, KPG. It was a fun game. It was a fun atmosphere. It's a 1-0 game, which I wish I saw. I wish I saw more goals, selfishly, just because I mean, I think, as everyone else does too, I like seeing goals, but a fun game even without high-scoring affair tonight.
You know what's even wilder for a Leaf game than Scotiabank on a Saturday night? It's KeyBank Center on a Tuesday night, and a bunch of us, including Maxentius and me and a bunch of other guys, we're going down to Buffalo Tuesday night, where it's going to be a sea of blue and white, cheering on the Leafs as we wind down the season. And I'm inviting everybody on Leafs After Dark, Leafs Nation, to come on down the QEW, including you, buddy, including you. Let's go, baby. Come on, representing the Leafs in Buffalo.
There we go. We got a good atmosphere tonight. I'm seeing it in the chat right now as well. People are excited about this win. I put up a poll to start the show. Do you believe? The options were I believe, never doubted, starting to, and nah. 55% in the lead. I believe, KPG. You know, I appreciate the offer. I would love to go, and I would love to be in the building on Tuesday against the Sabres. But with the post-game show, getting back from Buffalo to Toronto to do the post-game, it's a little bit more difficult, as I'm sure people can understand. So, I mean, for the time being, I'll stick to the Toronto game and being 10 minutes down the road, which, by the way, Toronto traffic sucks. I mean, it was like, I live 10 minutes from the rink. It took me like 20 to get home. It's a bit ridiculous. But anyways, that's just a
we were thinking you were going to do the show from the back of a Beck's taxi.
Yeah, well, I debated it. I saw people in the chat getting antsy. I'm like, maybe I need to jump in there. All right, KPG, that's enough about the atmosphere. That's enough about the excitement. Let's talk about tonight's game. I'm going to put it on you. I have thoughts of my own. I have a bunch of stuff that I was thinking coming out of this one, but I want to go to you right away, and we'll bounce back and forth off of it. What stood out in this game, in your opinion? What was it that excited you, scared you, disappointed you, maybe surprised you from tonight's win against the Habs?
What stood out is what I would call the tree living difference. The tree living difference, first of all, is our crease is now dependable. It's solid.
True.
You know, there weren't that many shots on Stolarz, but in prior series, this is the type of game where just one bad lucky shot would get in, and then it would be 1-0 Habs, and that's how it would end. And it didn't happen. We knew Stolarz was dependable, and you know what? Now we're at what? Like, we're going on to game 80 now, right? So we can judge the season. To me, Stolarz is the MVP. If he is not a part of this team, then we are fighting for a wild card right now, because the East is so tight, the Atlantic is so tight. He made a difference for at least 5 or 6 games this year, and I love the guy. You know, I'm going to say it. And then the second tree living difference is we had 5 defensemen, and you know, when 44 was down, we went down to 4. Mm-hmm. And so, but they battled through, and they blocked shots. Not much got through, and so it was another shot. It was 2. What is this? 2 shutouts in a row for Stolarz now, something like that, back to back.
I don't think it's back to back, because he would have played you would have played Tampa last. Yeah. Wall played Florida, and Stolarz played Tampa.
So, right, but still 2 shutouts. In I guess 3 games that he played, something like that. So that's phenomenal. And the next thing that I observe is guys are clicking into gear right at the right time. We don't need guys putting on their best performance in November. We don't need them putting on their best performance in February. Yeah. It's April. Okay. Nyes is clicking into gear. Tonight, I thought Domi was excellent. Even Morgan Riley started stepping up. Stolarz is solid. Mitch Marner wasn't like great tonight, but guess what? When the king of 3-on-3 had to come through, he came through. He came through, and that's what we need. We need those clutch goals. And I just want to say, and I hope I'm not speaking out of part of my French here, but fuck Nick Suzuki. He took down Marner, and Marner got in on 5-on-5, and then Marner got back up on 3-on-3. He gave the response, and you see how chill his celly was. Because it was no thing, because we're saving it up for the playoffs. Exactly. We're saving it up for the playoffs. So Nyes is clicking into gear. Willie is in gear.
Yeah.
Domi, all these guys are rocking it right now. I like it.
So a few things that I want to build off of what you said. Let's start with Stolarz, because that was, I think, kind of the most important, or the beginning point that you kind of started with, the launching point there of that spiel, which I agree with pretty much 100% of KPG. Stolarz, like, let's start there. Look, did he have the busiest night? No, he didn't.
No.
Anthony Stolarz had 15 saves, which I think might get corrected. I feel like it might be higher, because I think at the end of the third period, he had 15. I don't know. Maybe they're not counting the Nick Suzuki shot as a shot, but that's a fucking huge save.
That's a save.
Regardless of if the shot counter is calling that as a miss and saying it wasn't going in, that's a save.
Exactly.
He made big saves when he needed to. There was great chances from the Habs, especially earlier on in the first period, where it was like, okay, they walked away with 2, 3, 4 shots on goal in that period, and 2, 3 shots on goal in the second period, but they were bigger saves. Like, a couple of times he was tested and he came up big. He made the big save. He made the timely save. And I think that's important, because it's maybe not a highlight reel save. We're not going to look back on that and go, yep, put that on TSN tomorrow. Put that to start the TSN turning point, or whatever the hell package you want to call it. It's not going to show up there. But it's big when the video team reviews it, when the team reviews it, when they talk about that, because those moments, those saves, as you said, that's a Freddie Anderson off the ass from the goal line goal. That's an Ilya Samsonov looking the wrong way and it beats him over the blocker goal. Like, those are goals that burn you in years past. Anthony Stolarz did not let that happen. Joseph Woll, throughout the most part of this season, pretty reliable. It has not happened. So goaltending, I agree with you. The other part of it that I want to kind of dig into here is, you brought up the blocked shots, and you brought up taking opportunities away. We can look back and say, and I know I saw people early on in the show here being like, well, that's a Habs team off a back-to-back, and they're not very good, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Say what you want. They're hungry, right? They're fighting to get points every night, because they want to keep the Columbus Blue Jackets, who whumped the Washington Capitals this afternoon, 7-0. They're trying to keep them off their ass. So this is a hungry Habs team, with Ivan Demidov sitting up in the stands in the press box here tonight, watching this game. Now, that Leafs team, the first period specifically, KPG, they were taking away a lot. Sticks on pucks, sticks in lanes. There was times too that doesn't show up in a box score. Like, if you go look at ESPN box score tonight, it's going to say 18 block shots. And there's probably 18 block shots. That's probably fair. But you know what's not going to be calculated in that number? That's not going to be tallied up? Shot chances taken away. Or how many times did Montreal have a shot and miss the net? And okay, sure, maybe Montreal should have just dialed in and hit the net. That's fair criticism, and maybe they could have done that. But how much of that was the Leafs defense taking opportunities away? There was times in that first period I was sitting there clenching my ass in the stands going, oh shit, the Habs have a chance. And the Leafs would take away the middle of the ice. They would take away a shooting lane where Montreal would have had the shot and no longer did, because guys got on them quickly, took away time and space, and just eliminated a lot of that. They deserved a lot of credit for that here tonight, KPG. And some of it, it's not the prettiest. It's not going to show up in your box score, but it did a hell of a lot of deterrence tonight.
Absolutely. They held them to the outside. And again, That's the 2024-2025 tree living difference.
Yeah.
And it's not just the defense, it's also the offense holding, coming back, back checking, and keeping goals against down. It's the best season we've had in that metric.
Yeah, it's been an impressive defensive year from the group. Maybe some of their metrics as a whole aren't going to be the prettiest in terms of goals against or expected goals against, all that kind of stuff. But, I just look at the style. I look at their ability and willingness to play in tighter games. I look at the dependability of the goaltending. One of the things that Kyle Dubas did was try to reinvent the wheel, and he decided, you know what? We're gonna change the mold, and we're gonna build from the front back. That's why you end up with Justin Hall and Martin Marincin and Igor Ozhiganov playing in your lineup, and not just playing in your lineup, but playing in the top four and playing heavy minutes. Now you look tonight, as you mentioned, as we all knew going into this game, Ekman Larsson not playing, Jake McCabe not playing. You brought up Morgan Riley went down, go to 4 defensemen there for a period of time. Who looked really good tonight, in my opinion at least? Brandon Carlo. Yeah, sure. Yep. He accidentally loses his jockstrap into the upper deck, partially because he fucks himself up on that play and falls over. But every time I looked out there, it's like, there's Brandon Carlo again making a great play. There's Brandon Carlo in the first period breaking up a play on what would have been a breakaway pass, knocking one down in the neutral zone, stopping up a play because he steps up on the guy at the right time and he gets in the way of the body and the puck. He gets a stick on something, he takes away the guy from the puck, like breaking up plays, making stops, turning things over in transition. Solid, reliable guys. And okay, that guy's a trade deadline addition. That guy's a guy who joined the team here late, who I thought was dialed in. And, sure, there's going to be pissy pants people who look and say, well, look what happened in overtime and the chance that's given up. Fuck that overtime chance. It's a mistake that happens at a bad time, 100%. Look at the body of work for 60 here tonight, KPG. That guy was dialed in, and I thought he was making a difference in this game, especially given how important his role was going to be with no Jake McCabe and no Ekman Larsson.
Carlo has been a big key addition in the last part of the stretch, but you know who else is just sick the whole season is Benoit. He is maybe the least talented of our defensemen, but he's the one with amongst the biggest buy-in in this team. Remember when he even was willing to fight Olivier? Who the hell on the team is willing to fight Olivier? Number 2. That's who shows up. Every night he gives it his all, even if he's not the best player on the team. And in the past, like you're talking about how Dubas built it in a way that nobody's built it before. Yeah, because it's wrong. It's like giving a 6-year-old a set of Lego and saying, build a house. And the 6-year-old's building a dolphin tank and a helicopter pad and all of these things, right? Like it just doesn't work. Okay. So that's what Dubas did. And Tree Living is working to correct that, and I think has corrected the blue line, has corrected the crease, and Berube, people respect him. The guy, I was just watching, I got a short the other day of him going toe-to-toe with Probert. Have you seen that fight?
Yeah, I have.
Your coach can go toe-to-toe with the king of fighting. You step up and you fight for him. So that's the third thing that Tree Living has fixed, okay? 13 Leafs on this roster got into fights this year. That's buy-in. That's buy-in spread clear across the roster. It's not, and Reeves only counts for 1 fight. So these are all solid things that, like, I'm getting, if you can tell, I'm getting kind of amped up here as we go into late April.
Well, it's not just you that's getting amped up. I'm reading the chat here tonight, KPG, and it seems like the rest of the chat is pretty fired up about this one too. Look, is this the type of game that I'm gonna walk away from a 1-0 overtime win against the Habs? And as pointed out by my dad pointed out by my dad via text, no 3-on-3 in the playoffs. Sorry, Mitch. Fair enough. But, is this the game that's going to make me say, you know what, screw it, they're going on a run, they're winning the cup? No, it's not. No. But it's a game like this that, this team for Let's call it 7 years, because I think the first year we can take and throw away and say we were all surprised by that. All these rookies come in. We didn't expect to make the playoffs. You're not expecting Austin Matthews to score 40 in his first year. Like, you just don't. And you shouldn't. He's a rookie. Why would you expect those things to happen? But it was an exciting year. That surprised us. Well, for the last 7 since then, it's a predictable team. You lose games, you know you're going to lose. Montreal's off a back-to-back. They're a hungry team. Maybe this game matters to you. It's kind of important in the standings. Well, the Leafs traditionally, they probably drop a stinker tonight. Your goaltending has a shitty performance. They let up some bad goals. Your defense are weak, yada, yada, yada. This game, here and there this season especially, and then this game tonight, you just don't do some of that stuff. Held it tight defensively. And KPG, you know what? Also, like tonight, you want to throw into the mix of like, this happens every year, and it didn't tonight. I'm watching that game with my buddy who I go to the game with, and I'm watching the shots. I'm watching the Leaf shots climb and climb and climb and climb, and I'm watching Montreal's go fucking nowhere. And I'm going, we're going to get goalied. It's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't happen.
I was thinking the same thing.
You win 1-0. You ruined Dobus's night.
Totally. I was thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, wow, because I mean, Leafs had some real solid chances there, especially near the end. They came on. They were pressing, and nothing was going in. I was thinking they were going to get goalied. In fact, goalied in the way, just like I said, in past years, there would be just this one shot that just goes in because it's Hildebeest in net, or Hutch in net, or Matt Murray in net, or Campbell in net, or whoever, where your testicles are sinking back into your body. But I had none of that. I was worried we were going to get goalied, but I wasn't worried that a goal was going to pop in that shouldn't have gone in, because Stolarz doesn't let those in, really. Like, he's been solid. He's never been pulled the whole season. He's solid. So it gives a lot of confidence going in. And I love how this season has been is winding down, because it's exciting for every single team. We got a couple of new teams in the East that are going to be coming into the playoffs. That's adding a lot of spice into it. I think Ottawa is, like, I watched the Sens Habs game last night. If you caught it, like, Ottawa is pretty solid. They beat this team 5-2, where we only beat them 1-0. Doesn't mean, each team matches up differently. But it's exciting for the Habs, for the Sens. Tampa and Florida, looks like they're going to play each other. And I hope so. I hope that's the case. And we're going to play Ottawa. And another thing that's kind of funny is Florida was sandbagging. Who put an end to that sandbagging? It was the Leafs. The Leafs lost the game and then ended their losing streak.
Yeah, I know. That's when they go back KPG and they do Leafy stuff where you're like, well,
no, that's good. I'm happy. That was smart. You know what? I'm not saying they threw the game, but if there's a game you're going to lose, that's the one, because I don't want to place first and then Florida places in the wild card and we have to play them. Honestly, I don't have as much confidence against Florida as a healthy team as I do against Tampa.
Yeah.
Tampa, I think we can beat. Ottawa, even though we lost all 4 of the games this season, I think we can beat. And Habs, we can beat too. I believe that as well. We did that tonight. So it's just Florida that's kind of a concern. This is like, I'm going to get real here. I don't want to, we've been saying everything positive. There's just one thing that I'm going to say that I agree with you with. Like, all the tree living differences to correct. There's one thing that has not been corrected this season, which is what builds a championship team, which is the core 4. Okay. The core 4 has not been corrected. They're not I'm just going to say, they're not the type that can dig deep. They're not the guys who can just break through walls when it's needed. I've never seen that from them. I haven't even seen it in the regular season. So I'm not the guy who's going to go, yep, they're going to win the cup this year, plan the parade. But for the first time, since this week, I actually started to get confident that there is a path to them winning a couple of rounds here, and making it to the conference finals. And that is, if they play Ottawa, I do believe they can play Ottawa, and I do believe Tampa can beat Florida. And if the Leafs play Tampa, I would put my money on Toronto in that series, even though I think Tampa is the best team. Toronto matches up great against Tampa. We spent 5 years building for that, and the team knows it, and they're in Vasilevsky's head too. So that I see, like, I don't think it's delusional to say that there is a path here to get into the third round, and then whoever that team is, we have to see what it's about. We don't know.
Fair enough.
Ray Ufo, you agree?
I mean, look, I think that there's a lot of people who are going to be behind you here on this one, KPG. And if Tampa does find a way to get through Florida, obviously I think that helps you a lot. It's one of those things that was frustrating to me because it's like, you know, I had the conversation with Rosie when he came on and after the Florida loss, and Nick came on in that show too. And it was like, Rosie was like, yeah, I don't want to play Florida. Like, we saw what happened here against Florida. My frustration with Rosie, and again, and him and I talked about it, but was like, well, if you fear a team and think you can't beat a team, isn't that like a bad sign? And part of me still does feel like that. But I do kind of look around and I look at Ottawa, which does scare me a little bit just because of like that freshness and excitement factor that they may have. And you know, and the goalie, Omar could go hero mode there for them as well. You know, and it's not like any of these teams I'm going to take lightly, but I feel like there's at least a fighter's chance. Even if you're favored, you look down, it's like worst case Ontario, I probably look at and say 50-50 in some of those spots. I don't know. It just feels like, yeah, Florida's the one that I think if you go match up against, you might be fucked. But outside of that, looking around, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't say that any other team is going to be really like, oh, wow, we can't do this. Yeah, another team might beat you, but I do feel like you're at least bare minimum saying, hey, we're going to fight in this one. We're going to fight. We should win. Maybe we could win, but it'll be a fight.
Yeah, definitely. You know what, though? I just honestly, like, we lost to Panthers B team. Kachuk, he's a gamer. Bennett, he's a gamer. Barkov, he's a gamer. And in like 2 of the losses, those guys weren't there. So, I mean, you know, that's like us beating Panthers without, let's say, Tavares, Nylander, and Riley. You know, they don't have Ekblad either. So if we can beat them without those guys, and then we've got a healthy team, I'm going to say that Leafs can beat them. Like, that's just being honest. But again, I want to keep it positive, but like, we got to be a bit realistic. So I'm saying that there's a path here, you know, and I'm not saying plan the parade, but guess what?
You don't want to bolt your chair down yet here? You don't want to bolt the chair down?
Yeah, but the thing, exactly. But the thing is that in Toronto, even one round, there's a friggin' parade, 200,000 people in the streets. Seriously. Round 2, you've been there before. There's like 400,000 people in the streets. Round 3, it's never been seen before. Never been seen before.
Literally
how many hundreds
ever.
of thousands of people? Ever. Literally ever. In the whatever century-old team, never have they won more than 2 rounds. Oh, wait. That's right. Correct.
It's true. Literally
never
ever.
More than 2. Exactly. Literally ever, which is amazing. But we win 1 or 2 rounds, we're getting Toronto parades.
Yeah. Okay, KPG, I'm going to let you go here.
Wait, one more thing. I got to say one thing.
Yep, go.
My daughter, she plays U11 hockey. Her team won the finals 2 weeks ago. And I want to say congratulations to her. And then this weekend, they played in their provincial tournament, and she scored a goal from the blue line. So just want to say a shout out to my daughter, Jasmine.
Shout out to your daughter, Jasmine. Better shot from the point than Morgan Riley there, KPG, because
exactly.
we know he's not firing anything home from the blue line.
And we're going to be at the Buffalo game. We're going to be like 2 seats to the right of the Leaf bench. So I'm going to wear my Make Hockey Violent Again red hat. So look for us, look for Maxentius, look for a bunch of us too. And if anybody wants to come down, head down to the QEW, and we're going to be eating chicken wings at 4:30 at Gabriel's Gate. And then we're going to head to Key Bank to cheer on the team.
Okay, so I'm going to do two things before you leave, KPG. Two things. So one, congrats to your daughter. That's awesome. Good luck. I mean, the rest of the way in their tournament. The provincial's still on, right? My sisters used to play as well, so it's still on. So good luck the rest of the way in that.
Thank you.
Second thing, to anybody in the chat, and KPG, I'm sure you'll be in the chat the rest of the show here tonight as well, so people can go back and forth with you. But anybody else who's looking to meet up with Leafs Nation there, Maxentius, KPG are going to be down there. If you want to meet up with them, obviously I won't be there. I'll be watching from my couch and doing the post-game show. Nick will be watching from his couch as well. I think Hutton's on the post-game on Tuesday. Kind of fitting given the fact that Hutton also played for Buffalo. But we'll be doing the post-game show on Tuesday night right here from home. But if you want to meet up with the rest of Leafs Nation, Maxentius, KPG, head down there to Buffalo on Tuesday, hit up those guys, get in touch with them, and see if we can get a Leafs Nation meetup without even the Leafs Nation people in there. So that'll be fun. KPG, last thing I'm going to make you do. This is the Ninja Crispy hotline on the post-game show, but on the morning show, they do a hot take. So I'm going to steal from them a bit. Like, what is it if we're not on the same channel stealing bits from each other? Give me a hot take before you leave here tonight. A hot take, a statement, a thought, whatever. But one final thing before you leave the Ninja Crispy hotline tonight, KPG.
Oh my God. You put me on the line here. Hot take. Hot take is that Leafs win the round 1 in 5. Maybe it's too hot.
I like it. I'll be holding on to that. KPG, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. I appreciate the hot take. Good luck to your daughter, Jasmine. Congrats on the goal. Morgan Riley can take lessons. Thank you for calling in here tonight. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the night in the chat. I'm sure I'll see you in there, but thank you as always for calling in, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Enjoy the game on Tuesday.
All right, brother. Take care.
There you go. There is KPG hopping on to the Crispy hotline for tonight's post-game show. If anybody else wants to call in, you guys see it. It's pinned in the chat there. Taking calls tonight. You go to the live chat. You can click on the link. You can call in. We've got things to do, including we're buzzing here on the post-game shows. People are fired up. A win against Montreal. We're 2 games away now from the postseason. This is where we get fired up. Like, you know, the regular season for Leafs fans, it's kind of funny. I talk to Jeff Merrick about it on the sheet all the time. He makes the joke, makes it to me off air, makes it to me on the air. Like, it's a common thing. And it's true. I had never really thought about it until he said it. But the Leafs, it's an 82-game schedule for most of the league. For the Leafs, it's 82, one game schedules. So 82 one game regular seasons. Like, every game, 82 playoff games basically. Every game matters so much. People care so much. I care so much every single time. So we come on here and we talk about all this stuff. We get fired up like crazy after every single game. Everybody's in here buzzing in the chat tonight. And, normally with that comes likes, subscriptions. Make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button because we got 50 likes here so far on the post-game show tonight. The more likes we get, the more smelling salts we do. Thank you guys for hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel. We hit 50. If we get to 100, we do it again. But let's start here now with the first 50. So thank you for liking the show tonight. Here's the smelling salts. Let's hope to do some more. There you go. Thank you for liking the stream. Quick reminder as we do talk about the playoffs, and we are 2 games away. And God bless Leaf Bobo. But Leaf Bobo has made an appearance here as we approach the postseason, and Leaf Bobo has been bringing some good luck to this team. Clearly, God bless Leaf Bobo. But quick reminder here, we do get closer and closer to the playoffs. And look, actually, I'm wearing a Leafs jersey and I'm wearing a hoodie because I was in the arena. But underneath, look at that. Now we go. Playoff shirts for this year. Last year's, they were okay. They're all right. Bleed blue. People were okay with those. This year, it's something I say all the time. Nick, Rosie, producer Vic, even Hutz, all the boys got on board with it. Now we go. People on Twitter are involved. You guys in the chat are involved. Now we go. If you want your official merch, you want to get yourselves ready for the playoffs, well, that's good, because right here on the Leafs postgame show, on the Leafs Morning Take, it's all on the Leafs Nation 401 YouTube channel. We are getting you guys ready for the playoffs. Playoff season is here, and the Leafs Nation is your go-to spot for all the goods. Live updates, sharp analysis, and the full scoop on what's happening on the ice and beyond. Give us a follow on socials. Swing by Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube. And don't sleep on our exclusive stuff dropping on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Oh, and if you're itching to rock some playoff pride, like what I have underneath the hoodie, the jersey, all that kind of stuff, now we go. As you can see, now we go. If you're trying to get involved and you want your own, hit up nationgear.ca for our slick new merch. Let's get after it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I'm fired up after this win here tonight. I was pretty exciting to be in the building. I got to go to the one game there in Nashville, which was cool to go to with all the Leafs fans and stuff, but it's cool to be in the building, in person, on home ice. You know, like, that's a cool experience. So thank you guys for supporting. Make sure to head on over to nationgear.ca. Get your Now We Go shirts. I want to see you guys tweet at us your pictures. Post them on Instagram. Tag us at TLNDC on both. You send in your pictures, the Leafs Nation. Send in your pictures. Show us what you're rocking, buying shirts, getting involved. Now we go. Make sure to head on over and subscribe here to the channel for all of your playoff coverage. Let's also get to 100 likes. I mean, we're not far away, so keep it riding. Keep it going. Let's get there. With that said, we have some involvement from those of you in the chat. We have our first super chat of the night. So this one comes from X, though. X, though, says, great win, but how much did we lack clutchness? It's an interesting question, especially in a game like this when you consider shot count, what they limited Montreal to here tonight on the shot clock as well, and the chances that they were given, the chances that they created, etc. My honest answer to the question of lacking clutchness is a bit, but also you won 1-0, and you got the huge save from Stoli. So maybe you didn't. This is maybe a cop-out answer, but maybe they got clutchness in just a different way that we haven't seen. You know, some of it's frustrating. I'll be honest. I mean, I'll kind of dig into my real thoughts about some of the stuff. Like 0 for 4 on the power play. That's not ideal, especially against a Montreal team on a back-to-back. Dobish made some great saves. The Habs made some amazing blocks, amazing takeaways, amazing play breakups. Like, they were pretty good tonight. But 0 for 4 on the power play is not great. You did go 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. You did get a shutout from Stolars. You did get your big boy, Mitch Marner, scoring the OT goal. So I think in a way you could argue those things were clutch. Not being able to score and capitalize on some of the opportunities that you had, odd man chances, you know, Domi getting in tight, McMahon getting in tight, Nyes getting in tight on a couple of those. Yeah, that's lacking clutchness. I'm not going to disagree. Having, you know, Nylander, Tavares, Matthews held off the board in terms of scoring goals, that does lack a little bit of that to me, and that's a little bit frustrating. But, I mean, the end result tonight kind of would push back against that and say, in another sense, yeah, there was a little bit of lack of clutchness in some areas. In others, it was there. So that's kind of the way I break it down and give that answer. With that said, we have a caller on the line here tonight, so I want to hear what they've got to say. I think we got them all set up. Let's welcome to the show our next caller. Who are we speaking to here tonight?
What up, Zach? It's X, though.
X, though, I had a feeling it was you. I tried to load it in. I had a feeling, and as I was getting to that super chat, I was interested to hear what you were going to think about my answer to that. So do you think that that's a fair breakdown, X, though? And thank you for calling in as well.
Yeah, thanks for the great show. I've been loving it tonight. You always put on a beauty show.
Thank you.
Um, but to answer that, yeah, I definitely hear where you're coming from, and I agree in some ways. But the reason it's a question is like the 0 for 4 in the power play, and even a 5
Yeah.
on 3 at one point. We look back at the last postseason, and the power play was like disgusting, right? A lack of a better word,
Yep.
and not in a good way.
Yeah.
And that's where the clutchness comes in. It's like tonight, okay, yeah, we're in the playoffs, we're going, we've clinched a spot. Montreal hasn't clinched a spot,
Yep.
so like tonight they're playing for everything, and we shut them down in shots, and we played a great game. That's why I said great win.
Mhm.
But at the same time, those amount of power plays, like where is that clutchness? Like how do you play Montreal, have 4 power plays, and win 1-0 in a 3-on-3 overtime? It's not good. Like
Yep.
it's good for the win, but it's not good for the man. Wouldn't it be great if tonight we won 4-1?
Yeah.
You know what I
4-0,
mean?
5-0. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
like just put him to bed, put the
Yep.
nail in the coffin to him, and I think that's the thing that gets me is I think a lot of Leaf fans will agree. It's like that power play, you're like grabbing your nuts, you're tense, you're going like, oh my god, every shot, every play, but they just
Yep.
couldn't just pick it. They couldn't put the puck in the net. So that's what still bothers me with it. And I love the boys. Like we're being positive tonight, and we're going happy towards the playoffs, and we're hoping for the best. But as even KPG said, you got to be realistic, and that is realistic. I mean,
Yep.
and you saw what's his name on the bench, the guy that runs the power play, leaning over, and what's changed when you have to score and you don't score? What has changed? And
Yep.
that's it, right?
I this is the problem. Like everything you just said, I think is 100% fair. And your super chat was more than fair to bring up and ask. And I have like sometimes people will say some stuff like that or ask questions like that, and I'm just gonna say like fuck off. You were able to find a way. You did this, this, and this. I don't disagree with you. Like it's hard. It's a hard answer as a Leafs fan, and I might get some flack and I might get some pushback from people for saying, hey, you know what, you're a fence sitter. Okay, I can understand that on an answer like this, X though. Like I agree with you where there's pieces missing, and it's the lack of scoring. It's the lack of firepower, a lack of production from the firepower that you have is maybe the way to word it. It's the 4 power plays. It's the 5-on-3 and not scoring. The thing that I have a hard time just 100% agreeing and saying, hey, the clutch is missing, is just the other areas of the game. It's Stoli making the saves when he had to. It's Stoli getting the shutout. It's Stoli on Suzuki in the overtime to make that save. It's Scott Lawton saving a goal. It's Brendan Carlo breaking up breakaway passes in the neutral zone, knocking them out of the air. It's Mitch Marner scoring in overtime and winning that game when in years past you might have let in a weak goal in the third period and gone down 1-0 and then pulled the goalie and then had it go 2-0 and that be the end of the game, or go to overtime and you're like, hey, we're gonna get out of this thing or we got a point, but then you get goalied and you lose 1-0. And like in my mind, maybe those aspects are the clutch things that we haven't had in years past that I don't want to take for granted. But there's also the flip side of everything else you brought up. That's 100% fair. And XL, I'll throw it back at you where it's like, the other thing you're right about in this is relating back to the Florida game that you lost. Relating back to that game and going, a tight scoring game, a team that's as good as you, if not better, and you couldn't score. You played the tough goalie. You played Bobrovsky. He was dialed in. You couldn't get it done in that game, and those things do give me fears. And those things, to your point, do make me question some of the clutchness. So I do think it's all fair, everything you've brought up.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man. And that's it. And that's the thing about being a Leaf fan is you're caught somewhere always in the middle. And I truly think it's like the reason I bring up clutchness is like tonight's a game. We got the points. We're gonna hopefully win the division, if not already win it in the next game or two, but it's like we have to be able to close it off.
Yeah.
And closing it off is clutchness. That it like it or not, it's a game where we play to win. And yeah, like I said, great win tonight, but what if that same game happens in game 3 of the playoffs? It's just not acceptable.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? So it's like, call it the power play, call it culture, call it whatever you want to call it, but at what point in time are these group of guys gonna just win the game, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. It's like this is one of those ones where it's like, hey, everything I said about getting to OT and winning and doing that, get it done before. Win it in reg. Get those things out of the way. Yeah. So I agree with you there. What else tonight here, XO? How are you feeling about this game and this team as a whole? Does anything that happened here tonight change opinions, make you feel more, less confident, equal? Like, how are you feeling just in general about this one?
No, I'm feeling, even if they lost tonight, I'd feel the same way. I think the boys are playing good. As Berube always says in all of his interviews, it's the process.
Yep.
And like in your point, the process was good tonight. Lautenbrock blocking the shot, or stopping the goal. Stolar's making the appropriate saves. Marner putting it in when he had to. It's all there. So it's the scariest thing, which isn't scary, but it's like, who are we going to play first round? In other years, we knew that a week before this. So I don't know how I'm going to feel until we know who we're going to play. And then it's just the playoffs are everything, right? So that's how I'm feeling. Like tonight was a good game, great win, good for the boys, happy about the process, but there's this little itch in the back of my head saying, okay, in a week from now or less than a week from now, we'll be watching game 1, and that's where it all matters.
Yeah, that's true.
And I really don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't think anyone does. That's the hard thing, right? Like, I look, I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm lucky to have a dream job, and I'm not complaining about my job when I say this, but that's part of what makes this job really hard. Covering the Maple Leafs is we come here to talk about the game after, and people want to look forward to, and myself included, about the playoffs and what are we gonna get and what's gonna happen and how's this all gonna shake out. I don't fucking know, man. I just don't. Like, that's what makes it hard with these guys. Like, I look at a Colorado, a Dallas, a Tampa, a Florida, and whether they win or lose, you know what you're going to get effort and play style wise, and you know what you're going to get, intensity and coaching, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know, XO. I don't know what I'm going to get from the Maple Leafs in game 1. And it's like, people want to know and ask and all that stuff, and it's fair. I just don't know.
Yeah, it's Zack, it is actually crazy. And you do have a dream job, but it's also like, do you really? Because you got to deal with
No, I do. I do.
But you got to deal with this roller coaster that's really never ending. And honestly, man, it's the Leafs drive me nuts. I'm sure they drive everybody nuts. And it's like, are they going to win? Are they going to not? And we can dissect it to death, but I don't know. And after a night like tonight, when they got those power plays and the chances, and they're like predators, they're like dogs on the power play, just 5 of them surrounding the victim, and they're ready to score, but they just can't.
Yeah.
And that like grinds me to my bones, being like, come on, boys. Like that's it's not luck. It's like, I don't know what it is, but we lack it. And that gets me going.
Yep, I think that's fair. While I have you on here, I mean, I've got some more stuff to do on the show tonight, so I might as well include you in this next segment, as I do have a couple to do before we wrap up the show here tonight and get things done. Let's go to our play of the game, and I'm going to get you involved. So I'll play the little intro, and then I'll get your thoughts on it. So while this is playing, start thinking about that.
All right.
All right, play of the game. Are you okay to start? Do you have a play of the game?
Play of the game.
Yeah.
My play of the game is Tavares trying to fucking jam it in the net. He had couple attempts
Yeah.
when we 0-0, just like a workhorse in front of the net, powering through. That'd be my play of the game.
I think that's fair. That's a good one, actually. I mean, a lot of times I do like to go off the board and people get mad at me. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? Make the easy call on this one. I am going to make the easy call tonight. It's going to be the Anthony Stolar save in overtime. You know, there's probably other things, including that Tavares one, that we could all look at and say, hey, that was a big moment in this game. That was a turning point. That was something that changed the way, the trajectory of this game. It's the Stolars one for me. That's the one that jumps off the page. Like, it's 0-0. You know, everyone in that building's buttholes get a little tight when Suzuki crosses the blue line and Carlo goes down and he gets in alone, and you're like, oh no, we're going to have watched a 0-0 game that you're going to lose 1-0 to the Habs on home ice when they played in the back-to-back. And, you know, all the goodwill that got built up, it gets thrown out the window when that thing goes in the back of your net. And Anthony Stolarz didn't allow it to. He shut it down. He makes the save, and then the Leafs go down the other way and they score the goal of their own. You know, that's the moment for me. That's the play of the game for me here tonight, where I just look at it and it's like, at that point, it's undeniable. Like, you've got a guy who doesn't face a heavy workload, but holy shit, did he come up clutch when he had to. So kudos to Anthony Stolarz. That's my play of the game, X, though.
Man, I love it. And I've been very pessimistic on this call, but let's be positive and let's be positive here about it. And honestly, yeah, Stolars and the goalies, these guys have helped us out all year. And
100%.
And tonight, with that, your play of the game there with them, yeah, that's why you win the game. So going against my own opinion that's the clutchness, at least in the goaltending aspect. And
yeah,
and that's, these guys are going to help us get there. And we got a tandem. This is like the best tandem we've had in fucking years, right?
Yep.
So,
yeah,
honestly, years. So it's pretty incredible to see a guy like that come up in a big moment, and then have the team turn around and go down and put it in the net the other way. So it doesn't get much better than that.
I'm gonna I'll wrap it up there with you, X, though. I appreciate the call here tonight. You're more than welcome to call back anytime. Thank you for the support on the post-game show as well. You've started to jump in here. I see you in the Leafs Morning Take all the time, and then all of a sudden you become a regular in the post-game show. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here every time and now calling into the show. So thank you as always. I know the people in the chat have enjoyed the call here tonight as well as myself. So thank you. You're more than welcome back anytime. And enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of the night in the chat there. And hopefully I'll see you on Monday in the Leafs Morning Take chat. But hopefully I see you on Tuesday following the game against Buffalo as well.
For sure. I just want to say thanks, Zack. And you run a great show. And in the morning, the boys run a great show. And everybody in the chat, fucking go Leafs, go, boys. We may have different opinions, different thoughts, different ways of going about it, but we're all looking for the same thing. So
yes,
at the end of the day, thanks for having me on. I love calling in. I usually don't stay up late after the games, but once in a while you do. And Zack, buddy, keep her going.
Thank you.
And keep her running, buddy. Go Leafs, go, boys.
I appreciate that. Go Leafs, go. There you go. There is X, though, calling into the show here tonight. I appreciate that. We had two calls. We had KPG on the Crispy hotline. We got X, though, calling in here, just coming in after on that one as well. So as I mentioned, we got a couple things to do before we can wrap up the show here tonight. I'm glad to get people involved. Like, that's what the post-game show is about. That's what I built this on. That's what it's all about, you know. I do think that, hey, you know, I watch everything. I watch around the NHL. I know some stuff. I don't think I know more than other people or anything like that. And this is a Leafs fan show. Like, this is what it's about. I'm a fan. I'm sitting here wearing a Leafs jersey. I'm at the game in there with everyone else yelling and cheering and getting pissed off and getting excited with everybody. That's how it is. We're fans of this team. and your opinions are just as important as mine. I want to hear from everyone. How do you feel about games? How do you feel about the wins, the losses, the good plays, the bad plays? That's what it's all about. Thank you guys for calling in. Thanks to X, though, and thank you to KPG for your input on the show here tonight. Let's get to a couple more segments. Let's start with a more negative side before we get to the positive one, and we'll explain why as we get to this negative side here, because, you know, it's been an up and down season for the Maple Leafs and the post-game show in terms of, like, excitement, happiness, fandom. It's mostly been an up in terms of profitability on our best bets. So let's now get to what happened with our best bet in the game tonight. Breaking news coming in from Bet365. For every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Download the Bet365 app and use the code NATION, NATION. That's code NATION, NATION. To get in on the game, must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Ontario only. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Our best bet tonight did not go the way that I wanted it to. We are now through 79 games on the season. I have given out 84 best bets here on the pregame show, that we've recapped on the postgame show. That is 84 total best bets, a record of 30 wins, 54 losses. But if you guys have been following along the pregame show, which I hope you all are, and you have your notifications set so you don't miss anything, anytime a video drops here on the channel and you get an opportunity to go and watch the pregame, breaking news, all that kind of stuff, it's all happening here. You should have your notifications on. You should be subscribed to the channel. But in the pregame bets, 30 and 54, but I'm giving out plus money bets. So we're winning more money for the most part than we're losing. I can't be mad about that. I would like to win a lot more and be up a bajillion dollars, but right now we lose our best bet tonight. It was Matthew Knies anytime goal at plus 280. I thought he had a good night. I don't think offensively, like, the chances were nuts. There was a couple specifically in the third period there. Walks out of the corner. I'm thinking, hey, this is going to be the chance. This is going to be where he walks to the front of the net. He goes top corner. He makes a move around Dobish, and he doesn't. He tries to force feed a pass across. Gets to Matthews. He can't really get it because it gets a little jammed up inside on him. But regardless, we lose that one. Anytime goal on Matthew Knies plus 280, $50 down the drain. It would have profited us $140 here on the night. It doesn't. So we are up $859 on the season. That will be a profit of 8.59 units on the year. $859 we are profiting. I see in the chat there, Crit Commanda says 30 and 54 is the best a bet can get. Look, the record is not there, but we're giving out plus monies. Like, we're giving out these bigger ones. We hit the other day plus 350 on a Matthew Knies anytime goal. That one profits us 175. So for that one, you look at the two nights, we're up, even though we went 1-1. Profit of $859 on this season. That was our best bet. Let's now get to our final segment of the night before we can close this thing out. Let's get to our grade of the game. And ladies and gentlemen, as always, our grade of the game is presented by Greta Bar YYZ. I love Greta Bar. Greta Bar, probably going to go there after the show here tonight, to be completely honest with you. Wrap this thing up, post the podcast, get myself over to Greta Bar YYZ. Just an amazing spot before, during, and after games. I'm pretty sure people in the building there tonight were making their way over to Greta Bar as I was leaving. I was driving down. I'm watching where people is going, watching where the crowd's going. It looked like a lot of people were heading over to King Street West. Weekly drink specials. Greta Bar is the place to be. 590 King Street West. Greta Bar. Let's the games begin. Grade, as you guys send your grades in the chat, and I keep reading through those, and then we got a super chat that we got to get to too here before I close out the show officially. But the grade of the game for me, and let's get 3 more likes. 3 more likes. Get to 3 more likes, and we'll do the smelling salts again. But grade of the game Willie gets his hair done at Greta Bar. Love Greta Bar, but I think Willie's getting his hair done at like a professional salon. Grade of the game for me. I think I'm going to go with the B+. Do I think the game could have been better? Yeah. Do I think it could have been executed better? Yeah. They probably could have scored more and not let it go to overtime, which would have helped you in regulation wins, which helps with the tiebreaker if you end up getting to that point with Tampa, because you want the regulation wins. 0 for 4 on the power play is pretty disgraceful. The way the team played defensively, really good, I thought. Stolarz played really well. I thought the physicality was there for the most part. I thought intensity was there. Like, at no point tonight did I really feel like, holy shit, this team's not in it. This team's dragging behind. They can't figure it out. They can't get it going. I just didn't really have a moment like that in this one. Frustration from lack of ability to score, for sure. Like, that was missing. I mean, that's the one thing I would have liked to be different in this game. Power play is the biggest detractor. It's the most frustrating aspect. And if you score on one of those power plays, this thing's over, because you were good enough defensively. You stepped up in the absence of OEL. You've stepped up in the absence of Jake McCabe. Mitch Marner took some shifts on defense. I thought he helped out. I'm not going to say like he looked great. He helped out back there. He was not like a black hole of the defense. So just a good game. Stolarz had a good game. B+. That's my official grade. Let me see. Was there anything else I wanted to get to before I get to these super chats and wrap the show up here tonight? I wrote down some notes. I'm going to leave some of these out because people get really mad. Oh, one thing I did like. Josh Anderson gets in John Tavares' grill 99% of the time. Actually, let me say this. 100% of the time in years past, the core, all four of them, walking away. Josh Anderson hits you, turn around, get out of the way. John Tavares has a little snarl to him. He turned around, got in Josh Anderson's grill, and hit him right back. Got him up in the head, too. I mean, like, sure, penalty, whatever. I don't get, like, Habs fans are going to be mad. He got in his face. Got a penalty, roughing. Anderson goes to the box. Sure, you could have gone back to a power play on that one. I don't give a fuck, honestly. The fact that JT's willing to do that, step up, get in his face, I respect the hell out of that. He's shown a little bit more grit this year, a little bit more, just nastiness to his game. I appreciated that he turned around and got in his grill. We've seen Matthews and Marner do it a little bit more over the last little while. Like, you're just not going to push us around to the same extent. That it shows a little bit of something different from these guys that we just don't traditionally get, and that needs to be praised. So that was another thing I wanted to say. Jared Mack says Ottawa in 6. Well, Jared, fuck you. Go Leafs, go. Let's get to some of the super chats before we close this thing out. Let's start with this one here. KPG, super chats. KPG. Ninja Crispy hot takes. 1. Domi gets 4 points in round 1. Okay. I could kind of see that happening. I don't know if it's that crazy of a hot take. He's been playing really well. I thought the third line looked good here tonight. 2, Stolarz gets 2 shutouts. Stolarz gets 2 shutouts. Leafs in 4. Also, Jared Mack. I say that respectfully. Like, I appreciate you being here in the chat and saying that, and I do appreciate the participation. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just, with all due respect, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Stolarz gets 2 shutouts. If he gets 2 shutouts, Leafs in 4. Jared Mack, that goes for you. Stolar's 2 shutouts. Leafs in 4. What else? Another super chat here. X, though. Would you rather drop the gloves with Mitch or Willie? Come on, X, though. You're just poking and prodding. You're trying to get me to say something here. We all know. If you know, you know. I think pretty much everyone in the chat knows and would also pick the same. Next super chat here, and last one of the show tonight. J-Rock. What's your drink of choice at Greta? Quickly in the chat. You fire away. I'll do this because, Greta Bar is a great spot. Downstairs is a spot to go to as well. There's 2 drinks that I get. When I go to the bar, when I go for lunch, whatever, there's one that comes up more often than not. Dinners that comes up. That's the one I get. Greta Bar. Downstairs, easiest place to get both of these drinks. I want to know what you guys think is my drink of choice. What do you think is the drink I'm getting to? We got 100 likes here on the stream. I want to know your guesses. I want to see what you guys have to say. We hit 100 likes. Hopefully we get more and more subscribers from the show here tonight. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Jared Mack, good sport there in the chat as well. He gets it. He gets it. It's all respect. Saying Ottawa in 6. Come on. You come to a Leafs postgame show and you're saying Ottawa in 6. You know what's coming. What are my drinks of choice when I go to the bar? Send them in the chat. Thank you for liking. 100 likes here on the show tonight. When we get to the playoffs, I want to get 200, 300. I'm going to get greedy. I want 400 likes. Thank you all. Here's the smelling salts. I got a new bottle ready for the playoffs as well. I got one for Vic, one for Nick as well, if those guys want them. Vic comes on the post-game show enough. Nick, he's going to come on as well, so he'll have to do it. Rosie, I don't know about that. What do we got here in the chat? What are people guessing? AK cranberry juice. So wrong. Not even close. J-Rock, sex on the beach. No. I'll be honest, I don't even know what that drink is. I hear it all the time, and it's like, haha, sex on the beach. Oh, I love sex on the beach. Haha. I don't even know what's in this drink. Sex on the beach is an alcoholic cocktail containing vodka, peach schnapps, orange juice, and cranberry juice. That sounds good if you go to a resort. That's probably like the only time that I would have that. But I don't even know that I would ever have that, nor have I ever had that. But, okay. What else we got? This is the point in the show where it goes off the rails. Ricky Ma says, Zack looks like a whiskey sour guy. I will say, I'm not anymore. The reason I used to have whiskey sours was I went to school in London. I went to Western University at Seeps in my first and second year there. I think they got rid of it after that. They used to have this deal where you would get a mini pitcher, and I shit you not, it would be like a jug. Like it was like this big and like probably this tall. It was mini because it was like this rather than like a full-size pitcher like that. And it was just a whiskey sour that came in that. And it was like, I want to say $7.50, like $8 maybe. And I used to just house those. Like, the problem was you wake up the next day and it's like your teeth are falling out of your head. Like, hitting your head against the wall probably feels better than the headache you're dealing with. But, yeah, I used to have the whiskey sours, not anymore. Canadian Big Mac says, whiskey ginger with lime or an old-fashioned. Momo, I prefer wine over beer. HK Chinese Canadian says they don't drink, just Coca-Colas. Mike Batson, JD, Jack Daniels, and Diet Coke. What else? X, though, says White Claw. Ricky Ma, that Zach's totally into Mezcal Negroni. No one has said what I drink. That's kind of impressive to this point. It's not that difficult. 2 drinks I like to have at the bar. Guinness. I love a Guinness. And vodka soda. Those are the ones. Vodka sodas, it's just easier to carry around. Rip around. Those things go down like water. The vodka sodas, easy. The Guinness is just... I love a Guinness. That's all I'll say about it. Crit Commanda, teeth falling out of your head. Is this a meth talk? No, it's the sugar in the drink. It's so sugary in the whiskey sour when you have a pitcher of them. You have like 2 a night. Hurts. Momo, I prefer wine over beer. Yeah, do some of those wine nights, and next thing you know, you wake up the next day and it's regret. It's regret. I'll tell you that. I'll answer this serious question before we wrap up the show. Final thing. Jared Mack, serious question. If the Leafs beat the Sens... brackets, not confident, and play the Lightning in the second round and lose, but the Lightning win the cup, is it still a failure? Is it cup or bust for the Leafs? It's still a failure, yes. 2 reasons. 1, you need to get past the second round here with these guys. I'm sick and tired of getting to that second round, or getting to the playoffs, and not getting to the second round. And then the conversation is, well, they did get to the second round one time, but it's that they lost. Like, they won 1 game in the second round. Enough. Win games, get to at least the conference finals. So yes, Jared, that would be a failure. Cup or bust. Like, winning the cup is what your goal is, and anything short is a failure, I would say, with these guys. Mind you, 1 team wins the cup every year. That's it. It's incredibly hard to do. I think you have to win the East, and you have to go to the cup final, and that's like, otherwise you gotta change it up. I don't care if Tampa wins the cup. I don't care if you lose to Ottawa and they win the cup. Like, that's not a success. Winning, you're supposed to be a favorite. You're going to win the Atlantic Division. You got to win rounds. You got to get to the East final, bare minimum, and I think you got to get to the cup final. Sorry. It's a high expectations. It's a lot to ask, but I think that's the way you got to get to it. Canadian Mech, Black Gold is Guinness. Confirmed. That's all for the show here tonight. That'll wrap up. Oh, one last one. A super chat. Super chat comes in from Mitch Marner's Vulva. What would a show be without hearing from Mitch Marner's Vulva? Mitch Marner's Vulva says, do you dress Revo versus Sens prior to postseason? You dress Revo versus Sens prior to postseason? They don't play the Sens prior to the postseason. They play Buffalo and Detroit. So, no. Sorry, I don't know if you meant something else, but that's the way I interpret it, and no. Canadian Big Mac, last question. Guinness in a bottle is a disaster, or am I wrong, Zach? I've had it once, did not like it. Guinness in a glass from the tap. It's like drinking heaven in a glass. All right, that's all for the show here tonight. Thanks to everyone who tuned in, watched, called. Thank you to X, though. Thank you to KPG. I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone with the super chats, for the likes, subscriptions, all of that stuff. This has been game number 79 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, defeating the Montreal Canadiens here tonight with 2 games remaining in the season, 1-0 in overtime. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks to Jared Mack for being a good sport. Thanks to all you guys in the chat for all the conversation, the think pieces, all of that. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you watching. I'll be back here tomorrow for the post-game show after the game against the Carolina Hurricanes, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time show. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And